Ever stop and wonder why you suddenly, almost biologically, crave a very specific iced coffee at exactly 2 p.m.? We see it every day, right? Long lines wrapping around the drive-thru packed with people who swear they absolutely need their daily fix just to function. Well, in today's Explainer, we're diving deep into an incredible, frankly kind of manipulative corporate strategy. We're going to unpack the dark playbook of how a bitter bean was genetically, environmentally, and financially engineered into a trillion-dollar daily habit. So let's just get right into it. Okay, let's start with this massive paradox. Why in the world do we happily pay a massive premium for something so incredibly cheap to produce? I mean, if you just wanted caffeine, you could brew it at home for literal pennies. You could buy a giant tub of grounds that lasts all month for the price of like 2 drive-through trips. Or, grab a perfectly fine cup at a gas station for $1. But nope. Millions of us willingly hand over $7 day after day without batting an eye. The markup is absolutely absurd when you really stop to think about it. Are we really just paying for the quality of the roast, or is there something way more sophisticated going on behind the scenes? To actually understand this, we've got to completely strip away the illusion that this corporation is just selling roasted coffee beans. Actually, scratch that. It's not about beans at all. Their true business model is built on 3 deeply hidden pillars: weaponized human addiction, targeted behavioral design, and, this is the crazy one, unregulated corporate banking. Section 1. The biology of the upsell, beyond the caffeine myth. Most of us think we're just addicted to our morning caffeine boost, but let's drop the fancy Italian terminology for a second. Your venti caramel ribbon crunch frappuccino? Yeah, it isn't coffee. It's liquid candy deliberately masking a massive sugar trap. You're literally consuming roughly 60 grams of sugar before 9 a.m. To put that into perspective, that is the biological equivalent of eating 5 whole glazed donuts for breakfast. No joke. But here's the brilliant psychological trick. By naming these drinks things like macchiatos or frappuccinos, they completely bypass our natural dietary defenses. I mean, if someone offered you 5 donuts at 8 a.m., you'd probably feel a pang of guilt. But thanks to the branding, you don't feel like you're drinking a milkshake. You feel like you're treating yourself to a sophisticated premium coffee. It's an illusion that hacks your brain's reward center without triggering any guilt. And that brings us to the exact biological loop they've engineered. Step 1 is that massive intake of sugar and caffeine, which immediately triggers Step 2, an aggressive, euphoric spike in your blood sugar and dopamine. You feel productive, right? You feel invincible. But, what goes up must come down. Enter Step 3, the devastating biological crash. Think about that heavy, brain fog lethargy that hits you like a brick right around 2 p.m. Your energy just bottoms out. And here's where the behavioral conditioning locks in at Step 4. Your brain desperately seeks relief from that crash, and it's been systematically trained to associate that specific relief directly with their iconic green logo. So it's not just a beverage preference, it's a textbook addiction cycle, carefully cultivated to guarantee you come back every single afternoon when that sugar loop resets. Section 2. The environmental trap, curating a premium tax. Now this all traces back to a sociological concept known as the third place. The founders masterfully leveraged this idea. They realized people needed a sanctuary between their first place, home, and their second place, work. By positioning the coffee shop as this cozy, elite sanctuary, they essentially sold you an identity. Sitting there with your laptop became a modern status symbol. Think about your own habits for a second. Why is walking into the office holding that specific branded cup perceived differently than holding a styrofoam cup from the local corner deli? You aren't just buying liquid, you're paying a premium tax to exist in their highly curated social environment and project a certain image to the world. Let's take a closer look at how they actually build this sensory environment. Literally, every single detail in the room is engineered sensory architecture. Ever notice the smell? They carefully manage the roasting and brewing aromas to mask the massive amounts of sugary syrups being pumped out. It immediately triggers your olfactory memory the second you open the door. Then there's the lighting, intentionally warm and welcoming to create a subconscious sense of safety. The comfortable, lounge-style seating has a psychological weight that literally invites you to linger. Even the acoustic design and the exact tempo of the background music are chosen to mimic a high-end, relaxed space. They deliberately design this fully immersive sensory experience, making you incredibly comfortable handing over $7 because the ambiance itself just feels valuable. Section 3. The FinTech Pivot. Welcome to the Unregulated Bank. Okay, get ready for this. At any given moment, there is a staggering $1.8 billion in preloaded cash sitting inside American consumer app balances. Just let that sink in for a second. $1.8 billion. That is more liquid cash than the gross domestic product of some small countries. To get the best rewards and the fastest service, you've been thoroughly trained to load your hard-earned money onto their digital app beforehand. Let's think about this from an investigative standpoint. Why on earth are we giving a coffee company an interest-free loan? If you put $1.8 billion into a real financial institution, that bank pays you interest on your deposits. That's just how traditional banking works. But the coffee app, it operates entirely differently. They hold more cash than many mid-size US banks, but they pay you absolutely zero interest. Instead, they take your free capital and use it to fund their own corporate real estate expansion, upgrade their supply chains, or even play the financial markets. They are functioning as a massive, unregulated bank, funded entirely by your prepaid everyday coffee habits. And hey, if a massive interest-free loan wasn't enough, consider this next number. Over $200 million. That is the amount of pure revenue they pull in every single year for roasting absolutely zero beans, pouring zero milk, and serving zero customers. Wait, how is that even possible? Well, it happens through a corporate accounting concept called breakage. Think about your own phone or wallet right now. Do you have a digital gift card with like $1.45 left on it? Or maybe a physical card that fell between the seats of your car? You probably forgot about it completely because it's too small to buy an actual drink with. But multiply your forgotten dollar by millions of customers. Because you legally cannot withdraw cash out of their ecosystem, you can only withdraw coffee. Those forgotten balances legally become pure corporate profit. Yep, they're generating hundreds of millions in free revenue simply from our collective financial mistakes and forgotten funds. Section 4. Gamifying your spending. The mobile casino. They use incredibly sophisticated behavioral design to keep you hooked. You earn digital stars for every dollar spent, completely gamifying the simple transaction of buying a drink. Then come the push notifications. Ask yourself, how many times have you bought a drink you didn't even really want just because an alert told you it was double star day or buy 3 lattes by Tuesday to unlock a bonus? By relentlessly triggering your fear of missing out with artificial urgency, they subtly force you to alter your daily routine. You aren't just buying a drink because you're thirsty. You are actively shifting your behavior just to chase digital points in what's essentially a mobile casino. And because you aren't physically handing over cash or swiping a credit card at the register, your brain completely bypasses the psychological pain of spending. There's actual neuroscience behind this. When we physically hand over a crisp $10 bill, our brain registers a tiny amount of psychological pain. It physically hurts a little to give money away. But when we scan a barcode on a screen, we feel absolutely nothing. The preloaded digital balance tricks your brain into feeling like it's spending monopoly money. And since it doesn't feel like real money, you become incredibly susceptible to their very next trick. Section 5. The modification tax, the illusion of customization. They love to frame it as a commitment to your self-expression, but actually, it's a brilliant microtransaction strategy. They actively encourage endless modifications to your drink. It makes you feel powerful, unique, catered to. But look at the added costs. An extra pump of syrup? 80 cents. Swapping to oat milk? 70 cents. Adding a splash of cold foam? A full dollar. By framing the transaction around your personal identity and choices, they can quietly tack on these massive modification taxes to every single order. It all adds up silently, totally hidden behind the joy of ordering your highly specific, personalized beverage. This illusion of customization has a mind-blowing effect on their profit margins. A drink that has a base production cost of a mere 60 cents suddenly skyrockets into an $8 luxury. Because you're paying with monopoly money on an app, and because you're just adding tiny, seemingly insignificant microtransactions of 80 cents here and a dollar there, they've successfully bypassed your natural price sensitivity entirely. It's genius, really. Section 6. Breaking the loop, reevaluating the trillion-dollar habit. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, this corporation didn't build a multi-billion-dollar empire by simply having the absolute best coffee beans in the world. Their true brilliance, and the real reason they utterly dominate the market, is their masterful integration of 3 distinct strategies. They hooked our biology with perfectly engineered sugar crashes. They captured our sociology by building a sensory-rich environmental status symbol, and they completely hijacked our wallets through gamified, unregulated fintech banking. They haven't just mastered the coffee bean, they have totally mastered human psychology. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. The next time you find yourself pulling into that morning drive-thru, automatically opening your app to scan for digital stars, just take a pause. Deeply consider this question. Are you simply buying a coffee to start your day, or is a multi-billion-dollar machine secretly pulling your psychological strings? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Take a hard look at those daily habits, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.